Sharing your hour with us. We're going to do a lot of things today. We're going to do, I think, a lot of introductions. I don't think any of the new graduate students were introduced at our last staff development. Is that correct? No, they weren't. Abby says they were not. And so what I'd like to do, first of all, to get us started, graduate students, sit tight for just a moment. For those of you that are new to the division since last month and have not yet been introduced, I'd like you to go ahead and stand up, and we're going to have everybody introduce themselves. We're going to start out with this gentleman right here.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So, my name is Xavier Whitaker. I'm new to the family. Just finished the first week. Yay! And I got here as fast as I could. I hear amazing things happen when you go west. So I've been taking a lot in. Thank you so much. Many of you I'm getting a chance to meet right away, and others I'm making my way to you. But thank you for sharing good things that are happening in your area, and also giving me a heads up on things that I can put on my radar to work with you on. So I brought my wife, Leslie Whitaker, and two daughters, Elizabeth Rose and Sophia Grace, and my son, Trenton, and we're all here. Elizabeth Rose just got her first grade report, so I'm really happy. And that's pretty much about me. We're all from Texas.
All right, thank you. Welcome. Any other new full-time employees to the division in this last month that have not been introduced yet? Okay, great. So what I'd like to do for the new graduate students, I'd like for you to stand up and come up front, because I don't want to be running around all over the place. So go ahead and stand up, make it quick, come up front. And we're just going to pass the mic from person to person. Have you introduce yourself, what assistantship you have, so which assistantship you have, and where you come from. And that's your definition. Okay, we'll start right here.
Hi everyone, my name is Erica Hampstead, and I'm with First Year Experience, working with Ignite and First Year programs, and I'm from Tampa, Florida, from the University of South Florida.
Hi, my name is Kim Wen, and I'm also in the First Year Experience office for dual enrollment. I'm from Tampa, Florida, and I'm a Georgia Southern alum.
Hi, my name is Kanika Martin. I am in the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. I am a West Georgia student, so I graduated from West Georgia. I'm from Somerville, Georgia.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alyssa Mitchell. I'm also in the First Year Experience office with orientation. I come all the way from New York, near Albany, New York, and I'm an alum of SUNY Rockport.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Bercy. I work in health education. I'm from Boston and an alum of Quinnipiac University.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jason Burrell. I come from Young Harris College. I am a GA for Supplemental Instruction in the Center for Academic Success.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Good. I'm Tamara Washington. I am the GA for Health Education with Mr. Ron King. Woo woo. I'm from Virginia, and I am alum of James Madison University.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Courtney Campbell. I am in the Center for Academic Success over Academic Coaching and Second Year Success programs. I'm originally from Round Rock, Texas, but I spent the past 2 years teaching high school math in Atlanta.
Good morning. My name is Drew Hobson. I work in the Center for Student Involvement with fraternities and sororities, and I'm an alum from DePaul University.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Aaron Vick. I'm from Tennessee, and I went to Tennessee Tech University. And I work in housing right now. And I work in operations. No. I do like it. I don't really know why I say it right now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler Laceres. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I came from the University of West Florida, and I'm a graduate assistant for marketing communications and housing development life for the lovely Mr. Tim Riley.
Yeah, he wants to keep his job, Aaron. Hello, my name is Monquel Middleton. I work in the Center for Diversity and Inclusion as the African American Male Initiative Graduate Assistant, and I did my undergrad at Mississippi State University.
Hi everybody, I'm Shayna Sandbanks. I'm from Frostburg State University in Maryland, and I work in career services.
Hey guys, I'm Xochitl Ramirez. You guys can call me Yoshi, it's easier. I work for career services. I'm a career development GA, and I'm originally from Texas.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I am the GA in the admissions office, and I am a University of West Georgia alum from Noonan, Georgia.
Hi, my name is Whitney Burris. I'm working with competitive sports and university recreation, and I'm from Northern Kentucky University.
Hello, everyone. I'm Devontae Wilson from Jacksonville, Florida. I am a resident director over the University Suites with Housing and Residence Wing, and I am an alum of University of West Florida.
Hi everyone, I'm Joey Lorette. I come from Iowa State University, and I am in the Center for Student Involvement with working with fraternity and sorority life.
Hey guys.
I can't do microphone. My name is Tina. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I work now with competitive sports and in University of Recreation.
Hello everybody, I'm Nicole White. I am originally from Louisville, Kentucky. I graduated from Northern Kentucky University, and I am the resident director for the Oaks.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Heather Sola. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I went to Southern Methodist University, and I am one of the GAs of Residence Education, working with the Residence Hall Association this year.
Hello everybody, my name is Brittany Martin. I'm a West Georgia alum. I'm originally from Marietta, Georgia, and I am the graduate assistant for residence education.
Hi everyone, I'm Abigail Delver. I'm from Georgia Southwestern State University, and I am a GA for Red State this year.
Hi everyone, my name is Madeline Livingston, and I'm actually, West Georgia is my alma mater, and I'm one of the new GAs for fraternity and sorority life at CSI.
All right, let's give them a round.
And while they're sitting down, I want our second year GAs to stand up too. Not to introduce themselves, they've been introduced. Go ahead and stand up. Very important part of our division. Thank you all. I have all of them in class this term. I'm teaching their higher ed administration class, and we're just having a ball. Well, I am. I don't know if they are. Just a few things. First of all, I want to thank you very much for the outpouring of love on August 17th. I got quite a thrill as I came into my office and saw all of the things. Thank you, Teresa, for helping set that up. I know you were responsible. And but I appreciate everything you did for that. I do want to let you know that in case you're wondering, there is a gift for me waiting, a pre-insulated picnic tote from AARP. All I have to do is call the number and become a member now that I'm 50. So thank you very much. I appreciate all of everything you did to make my week special. We left it up for a whole week, and it was a great time. John has an announcement to make.
Thank you very much, and I can just testify that tote is pretty good, because I got my AARP card back in March, and it's a good tote. So it keeps cold stuff cold and hot stuff hot. So, can we have a drum roll? After a very tumultuous drop ad and reinstatement period, this morning we have 12,814 schedules in Banner. That is 2 away from a perfect 5% increase. So this is like 4.9594% increase, which is phenomenal. And a lot of people in this room worked their tails off to make that happen. And that is obviously in our admissions and graduate international admissions offices, but it's in a lot of other offices in this division and around the campus as well. I cannot express how thankful I am for your dedication, your hard work, how pleased I am, and I know I echo Dr. Lingrell's thoughts here, about the level of cooperation and collaboration that we saw at this university this year, especially this summer. It's making a difference because amazing things are happening here at the University of West Georgia. You're a big part of that. We're changing lives, and we're making a difference here in the lives of our students. So thank you for all you do, and we're going to celebrate.
Yeah, so in the midst of all that turmoil, John came to me and said, listen, this is going to be a record year. We need to celebrate. And so you all should have received an email earlier this week from Teresa. And if you didn't receive it, now you're getting your invitation to a celebration, record-breaking year on Tuesday right here in the campus center, actually in the next room over. 1:30 to 3 o'clock, we're going to celebrate our good enrollment and everything that's happening that's great at West Georgia. So make sure you show up to this. The reason it's even an hour and a half long is because we realize you have to cover your offices, and make sure that your employees can get over here and that you have an opportunity to get over here and celebrate this, because it's an important celebration. I can't tell you how often I can't tell you how often the president asks me what's enrollment going to be like. That's the first thing. It really drives everything that we're able to do. This next year, we just had a budget meeting. Next year, the president really wants to add additional money in for equity and for merit if we can. And the only way we can do that is when we have good enrollment and strong finances to be able to do that. So you may hear me talk about enrollment an awful lot and the numbers an awful lot. It's because it's an important part of who we are and the way that we're able to make this a great place to work, learn, and succeed. So that's celebration Tuesday, September 15th, 1 to 3 in the next room over. Okay? So many of you are thinking after looking up on the screen, oh no, we're going to talk about Engage West one more time. But the answer is yes. We're going to take today, and we're going to talk about Engage West one more time. And one of the reasons, the main reason, is because we need to have that closed loop so that you understand what's happening and what the university is doing and what your leadership in your department and in the division at the senior leadership level, what's happening in this. But it's also important because we said we were going to do this. You know, that's the integrity that we have to have. When we say in March, hey, we're going to be doing this, this is the rollout, and in September we're going to talk about the actual actions that we're taking, then we actually need to do that. And that's what this is. I'm not going to take too much time on it, but we're going to take enough time so that you understand where we're going from here on out. Okay? So here's the process that we have gone through to get to where we are today. Obviously, the survey happened in the spring. For those of you that don't know and weren't here, in the spring there was an employee survey, 106 questions, felt like 1,000 questions, but it was all about the university experience, all about the experience, and divisional leadership and supervision and all of that. We had a divisional information session, and then we had our departmental rollouts. So each of you in your department should have had a rollout of your results from your area, okay? Then there were subdivision rollouts, student life and enrollment management. That was just after Alicia left, so I took the reins on the student life part of it, and John took the reins on enrollment management to do that level of response and understanding what actions might need to go with that. And then I did the VP rollout or the SAEM rollout to the division extended leadership team. And that's kind of the common practice across these rollouts. I did the informational piece so you can see the information, but in terms of gathering feedback, I asked them through their rollouts, so the directors and many of the assistant associate directors, I asked them to come to that meeting, that rollout with information about some of the items that related more to the division or to senior leadership. From that, we have action items, and I want to share some of those action items with you so that we're all really on the same page as to what we're trying to do to make this a better place to work. We have then, this year, differently than last year, we collected all of the action items from the departments. Okay? We've been telling you for 2 years that we're creating a whole new sense of accountability, a leadership accountability. High performance leadership requires that accountability, and so we're collecting all of the action items from all of your areas so that we have the ability to take a look at those and help the directors know to stay on task in that. And then development of my own or our divisional VP action items. So because we have results at all of these levels, we have to have some actions to take care of some of the issues that came up. And then in terms of the follow-up, once you see these actions, they're already in place. The departments and the directors and John are already working on these things right now. But in November, there'll be a follow-up. Now, you're going to get an email, I'm guessing. Marissa's putting together a Qualtrics survey, and it's going to be really, really cool. You're not going to have to answer every question. You're only going to have to answer the questions that were related to your department and the action items that are meant to be changed by those actions, okay? So there's a logical part of that that'll come through. And you'll only have to answer those questions. So it'll be great. And then, of course, there'll be some that are related to the divisional piece, too. And then in January is when our annual evaluation happens. I think many of you know that. We're changing the schedule for the evaluations. Well, part of leadership evaluation, the directors, anybody who has supervision, should be, how are you doing on your action items? Where are you on those action items? Now, the truth is this year, it's only about 6 months between the time we rolled out and we'll have evaluations, right? So what we'll be looking for is progress towards the actions that you have at your departmental level, okay? So does that make sense? Any questions about kind of the follow-up or any questions about the timeline and all this? Remember, the reason we're doing this in this way is so that we can have a continuous process of looking at engagement of employees and looking at how we can do better communication, transparency, all those things. Okay, so I want to do just a little bit of a recap. I guess that's a pretty big recap, but we're going to do a little bit of a recap of what happened in the information session, which I did in the spring. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the purpose of Engage West. And it is to identify areas in which our communications, leadership, procedures, and our policies need revision or improvement, and provide us with the necessary information to map a route towards institutional success. We're not just doing a survey to have survey data. We're doing a survey so that we can pinpoint the areas where we need to progress and be better. Okay? And so in the spring, there are just a few of these pieces I want to remind you of as we go forward in the action items. First of all, employee engagement in our division in 2014 is 3.9. This year in the survey is 4.11, and then the 3.92 was the UWG average. So the institutional average was 3.92. Ours was 4.11, but previously it was 3.90. So that was quite a change from the previous year. Again, the survey is a little different, so it's not directly comparable, but it's pretty close. And these are some of the items. You won't be able to see all of them, obviously, in the rating scale, but these are some of the items. This is what our big picture looked like in our division. Okay, so if you look at those, the red line are the institutional results, so the whole institution. And the dark lines are the ones that are our divisional results. And if you notice, again, I did this back in March, you had this information for that amount of time. Most of them we are ahead of the institution. The institutional leadership one we are slightly, we are way ahead of the institution. The senior leadership one, we're slightly behind the institution. Okay? That's the only one where we're lagging in the institution. Okay, so there are several areas, again, that I shared back then where we are lagging the institution. And if you see, and I pointed out in that meeting also, I've underlined the word senior leadership. Because that was the message that really came out of our Engage West results this year. Yes, we did really well. We changed quite a bit from the last year, but it's still something we need to work on. And you'll see some of the engagement or the action items that I put together to help work on that. We also talked about that quite a bit in the rollout with the extended leadership team. And what may be contributing to some of that? What are the things, what is it that is suggesting to you that the answers or to give the answers that you've given on the survey? Okay? Again, it's not about changing the score. It's about having the information to be able to make the experience better. That then will change the score in the end, okay? So several things here. Again, there were some things I said we can't do a whole lot about. For instance, the UWG website keeps me up to date. We can do a little bit about that in our division, and we are. But the whole university is going through a website redevelopment that I think you're going to be very, very happy with, and that will change those kinds of scores. Policies applied fairly to all faculty and staff. Those are kind of things we can make a difference in terms of our communication. Consistency in handling employee issues. Pay is fair compared to other organizations. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing to make that happen. Staff are treated fairly. All of those things, we can do actions that can help those items, and we're certainly moving in that direction. This is just a graphic of those same things, and what it was meant to do is give you a relative comparison, right? So which one of those things are the strongest, the most difficult, or the highest rated or lowest rated? Again, at a 0.20, that's a pretty strong result, and that's where senior leaders want to know how I feel. Okay, so pretty clear. We need to find out something to do about those. Website keeps me up to date. Senior leaders are transparent. I think highly of senior leaders. So a lot of those senior leadership pieces came up, and you'll see some of the actions that are meant to affect that. So you may not be able to read this directly, but I wanted to give you a sense. When we asked all of the areas to develop the action items, that's part of the rollout, part of the discussions that happen at the department level, then we asked for them to submit those action items up to the division so we can capture all of them, so we can have them all in one list. That list is 158 different actions across our division, and they are customized to the areas of the leadership. So for instance, they're customized admissions has their results. They have certain actions that are going to help with their results. Those are much different than what university recreation might have, right? So the concept is that each area is responsible for its own action items, but total across the division, 158 actions. That should tell you that with 158 actions consistently applied, there's going to be a lot of movement in this, okay? There's going to be a lot of action, and at the end of this time, you should be able to look back at those actions and say, wow, we accomplished that. Or, gosh, that one didn't hit, it didn't do exactly what we thought it should do. Let's do a different action next year to be able to take care of that. So this is the accountability that we've been talking about. At the senior leadership level, the president holds me accountable. You've seen my scorecard. It's published publicly. And so you know what we're trying to accomplish. The departments have goals that are related to, and you're part of that development of those goals that are related to that scorecard. The president knows the actions that I'm going to show you in a second. And so he then is also asking me, so how's that going? And he's looking at my results in terms, and my meaning the division's results, in terms of Engage West scores. So this is really happening. And it's the first time ever, frankly, in higher education that I have experienced that there is this level of accountability, especially for senior leadership. Okay? So these are some of the items. I want you to notice kind of the structure here. There is you don't have to know this right now, but there's a nomenclature on here on the left side. That is the question number on the survey. So that's what I mean later on. When you answer your questions about your department, those questions will be very specific to the items, the action items that are meant to impact something. Okay? A lot of different actions up here have, like, for instance, John's down here at the bottom have multiple questions that are meant to impact. Okay? Again, a list of 158 of these across the division and due dates and who's responsible and all those kind of things. Some of you see your name up there. It really was just a snapshot so I could get that size of a chart on the screen. So that was pretty much the only reason those are up there. Okay, so what's the follow-up? We already talked about the survey for November and the logic technology. There will be a comment section on here too for you to give free range comments. It will still be anonymous, so there won't be any anonymity issues, but behind the scenes, remember, you will have been put in there so that you can answer specific questions, but still, it'll be completely anonymous and you'll have an opportunity to do comments. It'll be analyzed in mid-November, and then it will be reported to the directors for their follow-up items. So why follow-up if you're not going to take that and look and see if there's a course correction you need to make in the middle of the course, right? So that's what the follow-up is about. Are we doing what we intend to do? Are those actions making impact on what we intend them to do? And then, do we need to change course if they're not? Okay? Again, remember, this is a very short time frame, so we can't expect the entire world to turn in just that few months, but we can expect that you as employees would know that we're actually doing the actions, we're trying to make that difference, right? And the intent is a big part of this, that we intend to do that. Whether the action is making a difference or not, that's what we're going to measure later on. But are we intending to do it? Are we actually taking the time to do the action? And so that's what we'll look at in December, January timeframe. So what are some of the action items that come from the VP? I told you senior leadership was an important part of this, and we need to do something to help with this. So we're going to attack it in several different ways. Number one, I have created an WorkSync portal for the VP office to make access to information and forms consistent. And where's Laura? Is Laura in here? She was really helpful. Laura Petrus, in creating a portal for the VP's office. This will be the place where we can actually communicate through. It does communicate to your email, so you don't have to just do email inside of WorkSync. But it's kind of several purposes. Number one, when we start looking at volunteerism hours again in our division, you'll actually input those into WorkSync. So you need to be a member of WorkSync to do that. Actually, the truth is all of you are members to WorkSync. Whether you know it or not, you already are a member. But you'll be a member of this group or this umbrella, and I don't know the language quite yet, but there's a group that you'll be involved with, and it's the SAEM group. We'll also have some of our forms on there, for instance, the Aramark form, if you want to submit for some in-kind dollars from Aramark, and that will create a consistency, a consistent place for us to have that information. I'm going to jump down 2, and I will continue breaking down the division monthly newsletter. But it's going to be a news post through that instead of an email to you. So there'll be better graphics. It'll be a lot more like a newsletter. It won't be a 7-page email from me anymore. Okay? But it still needs to be some information that comes out. I've not done that recently, mostly because we're setting this up. I want to get this rolling so I can use it in that. Where's Dawn? Is Dawn here? Okay, there she is. I'm actually going to do the coffee with the VP listening session each month. It was actually her idea. after the last Engage West rollout of, she essentially said, you know, the results up there aren't the Scot that I know. And so maybe you should do something like a get-together where people can just come and talk and get to know you better like I do. She was in class with me as an instructor. And so that's the idea. And what I'll do, because we can't do everybody for coffee every month, we'll do 2 offices. And we'll have 2 offices, more than likely, one from student life, one from enrollment management. Every month, get together. And this will be your opportunity that you'll know there's an openness to learning about what's out there, and you get to know me a little better, and I'll get to hear your input on certain items around the university. So there won't be an agenda for that other than y'all come and we'll talk about some things. Work with directors and the AVPs to clearly define and communicate the roles and expectations of senior leadership. Okay? When we talked in our rollout, one of the things we talked about was maybe that people didn't question whether I had sincerity about how they felt. Maybe also, I'm sure there's some of that too, but maybe also it is that people don't quite understand what the role of a VP is. What does the VP do? Should they be in our department's business all of the time at the individual employee level? You know, there's a question about that, right? If I am, do you really want me there? Right? I saw some head shaking right there. I appreciate that. And so I think we're going to use this year to help through the directors, through the people on the extended leadership team, help people understand the role of the vice president, what I do, why I do the things I do, how that is important to your engagement, how that is important to the resources you have to do the job that you have to do, so that you can more fully understand that. Again, I'm a VP. I've been doing this job for 4 years. I don't fully understand what a VP does, right? So it's a work in progress all the time. But the question really is, when you answer that question, are you answering it about our personal relationship, my personal relationship with you, or are you answering it about my job as a VP and seeking your input? You can see there's a lot of pieces up here of seeking your input. So I'm going to be better about that this year. We're going to be better at defining what I do, but also about seeking the input. You know, one of the things as we've worked on this whole Engage West piece, that we've kind of set aside a little bit. There are 2 pieces we've set aside a little bit. One of them is kind of the treatment of staff overall. It's come up in both of the surveys, right? And we're doing some things at the senior leadership level to work on that. But another thing is the issue of pay, right? The lowest scores on both surveys, kind of expected that it'll be the lowest score on a survey, because no one's ever really satisfied with their pay. No one ever says, well, no, I don't want the raise. Really, I make enough, right? No one's ever going to say that. So there are issues with pay, and we've kind of swept them aside a little bit because we said, gosh, there's not a whole lot we can do about that, right? We can't get more money. The Board of Regents has even said, we're not giving you money just to give your employees extra money. We've done it internally. About $4.3 million over the last 2 years has gone to equity and merit, right? So we've done some things internally, but it's still an issue on the table. So this year, I've put it as one of my action items so that you're clear and you'll know that I'm taking action on this. Engage fully in this year's equity study and advocate for additional merit increases, right? I want you to know I've been doing this. I've been doing it every day, on most days. Anytime there's discussion of pay, I've been doing this, but I want you to know I'm doing it. I want it to be clear to you that I'm doing it. Can we ever get as much as what we would want? The answer is no. We have a unique opportunity, not unique, an every 3-year opportunity. This year, we're going to be going through another equity study. If you don't know, an equity study is a full-blown study that looks out there in our marketplace to determine if our rate structure, if our salary structure is appropriate for the positions that we have, right? So there is a study that goes out and says each one of our positions or representative positions, there's a study that a company, and this year it's going to be SIPSN. You may have heard that before because they did the faculty study a couple years ago, but SIPSN is the company that will be doing this. And they will look at our position descriptions and they will say, okay, how do those relate then to the marketplace? So what does it cost if you leave us because you won the lottery? Let's just say that. What does it cost to replace you with the new person coming in? That's essentially what the equity is. What is the market? What does the market bear? Okay? And that's what then we go by when we determine what those equity increases are. And we've done equity increases for the last 2 years, and then 2 years prior to that we did one. Okay, so we're working on this thing. But the reason I'm saying I'm fully engaged is because I've already asked the directors to get the position descriptions correct. So that when they do that study, they can have a corrected position description. We need those correct so that it reflects the job you're actually doing. People need to be paid at the level of their job for doing the work that is appropriate in their job, right? We don't want to underpay people because then you can't attract great people. So that's what that's about. I'm going to stay really, really engaged in it. When discussions come up in the spring, and there's going to be the discussion, we may get equity or may get merit money from the state. I hope so. This last year, it was 0.44%. Wasn't even 0.5% from the state, right? We added money to that as a division, or as a institution, even to get it up to 1%. But I'm going to be staying on this so that we add as much as we possibly can to the equity piece. Because you don't get record enrollments, you don't have U.S. News and World Report ratings, you don't have, as a division, you aren't able to be in the top 15 places to work in the country without having awesome people that are earning merit, that are doing a meritorious job. So that's what we're doing. That's what I'm going to do in that item. And then finally, find at least one additional method or tool to seek input from all employees. Okay? So last year, I'm actually pretty good at disclosing when I failed at something. And last year I failed at this. Tried to do a Google survey thingy doc. Again, Steven's laughing at me because I'm not much of a Google Doc type of a person, but it was a survey. 2 responses, got 2 responses. One of them was, is this the way you use this thing? So it was just someone testing it, right? The other one was a legitimate response. So that wasn't a good tool. That wasn't a good method. I'm hoping maybe in OverSync there's something that will help us do that and get feedback. But I guess, you have to be confident that I really want that feedback before you would even begin to type something in there and feel confident enough to do that. Well, I want you to know here, in our corporate setting, I do want that feedback. What I can't promise is that what you want to happen is going to happen, right? I can't promise that because you are one opinion in a sea of lots of opinions. But what I can promise is that it will be very seriously thought about, it will be considered, so that it is the voice that then becomes the reason around our decisions. Okay? So those are the actions that are meant to give you a better sense of senior leadership. This next year, I'm almost 100% positive that the survey will split out me from Kyle. Remember this last year we were put together, and I really think he drug my scores down. I keep telling him that. So again, it'll be split out, it'll be a little clearer, so that you have the ability then to give the feedback that you need to give. there's been a lot of conversation at the PAC level and at cabinet about the intent of the Engage West survey, right? What it has become a little bit is a leadership evaluation tool, right? Kind of an unbridled leadership evaluation tool where people can say and do almost anything and could skew people's visions and versions of what leadership is doing or what information leadership needs to give. So we're struggling with that now. Is this really the tool to do that? Because it's really meant to give us information about how we can be better at making a great workplace for you. See those distinctions? And so we're talking a little bit about that and how this tool is or isn't a leadership evaluation tool. Most times in industry and even in higher ed, to evaluate leaders, you do a 360 evaluation. You don't do a singular bottom-up only evaluation, right? And so, so those are some things that we're talking about to refine this over time. But you have my word, you have my absolute confidence that we will continue to do the Engage West surveys, at least to get the other pieces, which are the engagement. Right? Okay, so in a room like this, it's hard to just ask for input, so I'm not going to do that. But I am going to say that if you have some thoughts, if you have any input, if you have any thoughts about these engagement items or these action items, please go ahead and email me directly. If you know me, you know that I am on email constantly. I respond to email very quickly, and I really want that kind of feedback to make sure that you know what we're doing at the division level. Okay? So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Part of what we're doing, obviously, is to help you feel more confident about the transparency of leadership at the university. And I will tell you, these last 2 years working with Dr. Marrero, I have never experienced ever a leader that is as transparent as Dr. Marrero. Okay? Sometimes that's not the greatest thing because you have to respond to that. Like when he says we're going to have 13,000 students in front of all of our freshman class, right? So sometimes that transparency is just a little bit too much. But most times it's right on because it gives us all a sense of confidence and integrity. And that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to prevent. So one of the things that came up through the survey, or really through the rollout, is, Scott, one of the ways that you can demonstrate and communicate people's value, again, if the question was, do you care about what I think, and also a lot of the other senior leadership questions. If you want to demonstrate your value, what does that, and sometimes is the resources that are available for people to be able to do their job. And I agree with that, right? And so we have done a pretty good job as a division of seeking resources and getting resources towards our priorities in the last 7, 8, 9 years, going back even to Melanie, and the institution cares about what we do, so it gets resources in that way. We met, and it's part of this, the seeking input on needs and priorities, or the directors submit prioritized list of the VP office. We met about a week ago with all of the directors who presented their priorities for their division, or for their office, I'm sorry. And the method of gaining information of that was to come out to you as employees to do that, and that's the second item on there. We did that so that it's really, really clear as that information comes forward that we are looking at as much as we can based on our expectations, the scorecard, your departmental goals, what are the needs out there, okay? And so the directors came together and presented all of this. It was kind of neat to see the hope and the excitement about what we are going to become and what the needs are. Now, I can say that even in our division, in that exercise, we put up about $4.7 million worth of requests on the board. Last year in the entire university system, there was $7.6 million to distribute. Okay, so even just our division was more than half of that money. So that's the nature of budgeting and the way we do things. You never are going to have as much as what you want. But what it did is it gave us an understanding of where the priorities are. Some of those were kind of on the edge, that we're doing great, but gosh, we could do a lot better if we had this, whatever that is. So anyway, that process has happened, and the directors are to have that to our office by tomorrow in a prioritized list. So you know that by tomorrow, your department will be represented in our division's list of priorities, okay? And that is, again, something that it's early this year. So at the top, this is about a month or a month and a half earlier than what we have done this in the past. Our office then has to work with that list to create the overall division priorities. As we move forward, we talk to the other vice presidents. And that has to be done by September 15th. So it's a quick turnaround in all of this, okay? The president and the VPs then have just a few days to turn that into the institutional priorities list, okay? So that's during that time, actually by the 29th, that's that time when the vice presidents and those around us sit at a table and kind of negotiate what's going to go on the list that we ask for the money from the Board of Regents. That's that time frame, okay? And of course, you could expect that if the Division of Student Affairs has 4.3 million, on our list, and we are 9% of the entire university budget, what academic affairs list must look like if they are 63% of the entire university's budget, right? And business and finance and deferred maintenance and those kind of things. So there's a lot going into what happens to get our list to the Board of Regents. But I can say that list has to meet their priorities. And if you go on their website, a big part of their priorities are student success. So that's how we get in that mix, is that we are the keepers in many ways of student success. And generally we do pretty well on that. We finalize it by September 29th. We have to submit to the Board of Regents by the 19th. In that is an entire 22-page document that we have to fill out about our institutional health and almost everything related to it. Finances, athletics, CCG, Complete College Georgia, so many different enrollment, all of those things are part of that. And so that packet goes into the board, and then sometime later on we have a meeting. The 4 vice presidents and the president go and meet with the board, and the chancellor grills us for about 30 minutes about our institution. What's going well? What isn't going well? Why do you need the resources to do what you need to do? How's that related to student success, right? Those kind of things. And so the whole process is very much about, what are you trying to achieve? Are you helping to further the goals of the university system of Georgia? And how successful are you in doing that? Okay? We have a great story then. We have a great story, and that's why last year in this request we asked for $1.5 million, and we got $1.5 million. Almost unheard of that you actually get what you ask for. So what are we going to do this year? We're going to ask for $2.5 million, right? We're no dummies. We know how this game works, right? And so I guess in that I want you to know there is a process that you have input into that gets up to the priorities of the institution, certainly gets to the division level, and then we have to make decisions about what is going to play best at the Board of Regents, right? And so your directors are in that process, and if you have feedback for them about things that are necessary, you can certainly give that to them, you can give it to me. But also that might be an opportunity for them to educate you a little bit about about the broader scope, the whole university or the whole division, and how these things play together. Okay? I promise I am not going to talk about Engage West one more time until next spring, when we celebrate the successes and we do the next rollout of information. Okay? But I want you to think about Engage West every day. Every day. I think about it every day. I take actions every day. John, Xavier, when he really gets up and running and isn't drinking from the fire hose, we'll think about it every day as a way to make your experience better, which in turn makes our student experience better. We are doing great things. I appreciate everything that you do. I want to hear from you, and so when we set up these mechanisms, I really need more than 2 people to respond to them and give us information. And we will set up the first coffee with the VP probably for October. I don't think we can probably hit it here in September. We'll probably hit it in October. So thank you very much. Any announcements before we go? I have one, and that is Saturday. We're having our SAEM tailgate. If you would want to help set up, and there's a little bit of setup to do, which is chairs and tables and tents, and there'll be beverages even during setup time. So if you want to enjoy, soda and iced tea and water. But that setup will be at 3 o'clock. We're just going to do it 1 hour before the 4 o'clock start of the tailgate. Okay? And we could use some help out there during that time. And then and even if you don't like football, you don't have to go to the football game. You come to the tailgate. Everybody likes a party. Everybody likes food, right? And so come on out. It's great fellowship. It's a good opportunity to get to know those around you in the division. But the West Georgia Wolves are number 3 in the country right now, coaches poll. And you can give an applause for that. Awesome. Really need a few less turnovers, and they'll do a lot better. They had 5 this past week, and it was not pretty. 4 o'clock start to that tailgate. The game is at 7. And you as faculty and staff and students get free access to the game. So sometimes people are confused about that. Gosh, do I have to buy a ticket? No, you don't have to buy a ticket. You just use your ID to get in, okay? The other announcement I had is next month's staff development will not be Scott Lingrell talking. You can applaud that one too. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate that. But Eddie Duffy from athletics will be here. And he's a great guy. If you've not met Eddie, he's one of the hardest working people in college athletics. I can tell you that right now. And really is very, very pro-student and pro-student success. And when he brings his list of things they're doing this year, you're going to see some of the things that are kind of cool that he'll bring with him. Any other announcements? Yes, Deidre. That's great. Thank you very much. It is 10:55, so we are out of here. Thank you.